Hi everyone, this is Christina. This is the detailed instruction video for my new EA COE Pro and COE. If you just want to have a quick look of what this EA can do, refer to the intro video here also in my YouTube channel. I'm going to use the COE Pro version for this demonstration. This video also covers the COE free version. There's only one function missing in the free version. Everything else is identical. I will explain when we get there. So this EA, the first version 1.00, was compiled with MT4 build 830 on this date. So if you want to use this EA, must use build 830 or above. This EA cannot be backtested and must be used with forward trading, either with demo account or live account. So here are the external inputs for COE Pro, and you notice that I have used a descriptive format for all the inputs to help you to understand what these inputs are actually doing. So there are two inputs here that you do not see with COE because they're related to grid trading. Grid trading function is the only difference between these two versions. We'll get to that later. At this point, I'm actually not going to elaborate on how to set up those inputs, and later on when we get to them, I will explain one by one. So I'm just going to use the default setting and then we click OK. So here's what this EA normally looks like. It has a very small footprint and it won't occupy any of your chart space. When you do need to open order, any type of buy order, including market, stop, or limit, hit this button. Okay, you will see buy settings, and here's a green button. Closing the sub window without opening any order, use this. When you wanted to open sell order, sell settings, and here's red button indicating this sub window take care of sell market, sell stop, and sell limit. Okay, we can close like this. Let's take a look at the sub-window layout using buy order as example. Here is the main part that help us to determine the four important elements before we open the order. Order open price, order take profit, order stop loss, and order lot size. You notice that we can control these things using two different methods. One is directly input pip distance or lot size here. Second is by dragging the lines. And here are two additional functions that help us to drag the lines to our desired location. And this is a live update window. This will update each time you make any changes or each time there's a new tick coming in the market, and everything will be updated. And this is the button you click when you're ready to open trades. Let me close this window and start again. And when I first start, you will see some of those areas already populated. EA has actually already decided that by default, I wanted to open a trade that is market order with 50 pip take profit and 50 pip stop loss with money management lot size. I'm going to risk 2% of my account balance. So you can actually click this button and open the order right away using this default profile. So how does the EA know this is what I want? And this is related to your default settings when you first start the EA. So default order entry settings. And here I have colored these in 4 different colors. The yellow and orange is related to default settings for all the 4 elements here. So here is basically what you tell EA when I start a new fresh order. These are the things that I want. It's most likely what I want to use, knowing that later on I actually could change it for each individual order. Okay, so let's look at them one by one here. I will restart this one. See, first is default pip distance for take profit. And this time, I'm going to set it to 0, meaning no take profit. Okay? Stop loss, let's leave it as normal. By default, I wanted to set the lot size calculation method. I have two choices. One is fixed lot size, one is money management. This time, I'm going to use fixed lot size here. So this is just default. Every time a new order entry pop up, this is the default setting. You can change it on the fly. So fix the lot size, and here's what I want to change. When fixed lot is chosen, this is obviously it's relevant. When money management is chosen, this setting is not relevant anymore. So now when money management is chosen, this is the setting EA is going to use. 2 means 2%, but 2% of account. And now here, I want you to choose how EA reads account size. Now we're giving you three options. You could either use the real-time account balance, or real-time account equity, or real-time free margin. And this is not something you can adjust on the panel for each individual trades, because it is very rarely that trader is going to change this on a order by order basis. Okay, if you do want to change it on order by order basis, you have to restart the EA. But because when we're doing any program when it related to panel, we have to strike a balance between giving you all the choices you want and making the panel as small as possible, as simple to use as possible. So I simply decided this is not something that was to be on the panel. We're giving you the choice here. Now, when it comes to money management, we're facing another question here. So when it comes to money management, we must know a percent of the risk we want and also a stop loss distance. We must have these two things to calculate lot size. However, we know sometimes people want to be more conservative in your lot size calculation compared to their real stop loss. And here, if EA should be using actual order stop loss for money management, true or false? What does that mean? That means, so when EA calculate lot size, you have two options. One is linked to the actual order stop loss. The other one is to use a standalone settings for calculation lot size only. So if I set this to be true, that means if my stop loss is 50, I'm going to use 50. And if you later on the panel adjust the stop loss to 40, EA is going to automatically adjust lot size based on the 40 pip stop loss. This is when it is true. When this is false though, EA is going to ignore the real stop loss distance and always calculate a lot size based on this setting. And this is not a setting that can be adjusted on the panel. This is a fixed level that apply to all of your trades during this operation. If you want to change this value, you have to restart the EA. So when this is false, EA always calculate lot size based on this number. And even when this is true, okay, even when this is true, sometimes you are opening an order without a stop loss. Okay, in that case, when you set to true and there's no real stop loss we can use, then EA will automatically come back to this number. So here, by giving all of those options, the reason I give those options is because I have coded thousands of EAs for clients, and I know what people generally want, and this type of request comes up all the time. So I wanted to have a stop loss of something, but I want to calculate lot size using a different pip distance. And sometimes my order don't even have stop loss, but I still wanted to use money management. This is why we give you this option. Okay, but here I'm going to set up with this to be true. Okay, I'm going to set up with fixed lot option. So the other three is not related to the default setting. We're going to explain that later. See, notice that this is 0, this is fixed lot of 0.01, and now when I start, you notice here has nothing, and here it says no TP. This is why, because I instructed EA to do so, and here now is fixed lot size, it's this. I can very well just change this. For example, I hit this, uh, 15 pips is EA automatically pop up. I can also move the line and all of these will adjust on time. However, by setting up the default setting properly, it will save you some time when changing those values. Exactly how flexible this EA can set the prices? Let's take a look. So we have three things related to price, and they can all be represented by a line. And they can also be adjusted by typing the values. This is one of the unique features from this EA. So you can actually adjust the same price using two different methods. By doing this, then we need to make one thing extremely clear. So because two things can affect the same thing, and how does the EA know which one I should obey? For example, right now, this shows minus 20.5 from the market. If I move this line, this value will change because last time I make any adjustment to order entry is by moving the line. From that moment, EA will think this is a fixed price you're going to do. And as market price change, EA is going to adjust the pip value. For example, here, the last time I adjusted this line is by moving the lines. And now if market receive new ticks, this value is going to change because EA will assume by sticking to this price, it's important to you. So this number will change. And because this number changed, it will cause these change as well. But all of these live update is showing here. However, if the last time you change this is to by modifying this number, for example, minus 50, from that point, EA will think for this pending price to keep the order price to be 50 pips from the market price is essential. So then as new ticks comes in, instead of changing this will be fixed at 50 and this line is going to move up and down. You can see here line is moving. Because this line has changed and the TP stop and lot size could all be changed based on your settings, and all of these status is going to be updated here. This is a very important part about this EA we must understand because I do not see any other program that give you the control on both front. And same principle apply to TP line and stop line. See TP now, you click it, switch between no TP to having TP. Okay? So while it's having TP, you see here, when it always starts with the fixed pips, so 50 pips. If you don't change this, this line, TP line, is going to change to be keeping always 50 pips from order entry price. However, if the last action I move with the TP is by moving the line, from that point, this line will be my desired TP location, and this number will actually change based on the market price change because this location now is important, and if this line ever changes, this line needs to be changed. For TP, it will not affect the lot size. If the stop loss distance is changed, the lot size will likely to be changed. if you're using money management. However, EA is doing all the calculation real time. So now same thing apply to stop loss. And EA will also check if any of those settings is invalid. For example, stop loss could be too close to order open price, or stop loss could be at an invalid price. Then EA real time will tell you this stop loss is actually higher than order open price, and then it is an invalid price. So now the last is about lot size. So for lot size, see here, it immediately changed back to its real status. For lot size, it has two choices. Fixed lot. Now, once this is fixed lot, whatever you input here will be fixed lot. So by changing this number, so the lot size will always be 0.02. However, the risk amount, the risk in terms of percentage and risk in terms of real money is changed. And because it's related to stop loss. So here is 0.02 lot, risk is this much. And if I make this 0.04 lot, risk is more. And besides, this number could be changing all the time. So at real time, you always see all these three updates regarding lot size. Now, you can switch to money management lot size. Now, suddenly this number now is about percentage. If I put 4%, you will notice here is always have the risk percent that's close to 4. Most likely won't be exactly 4 because the 4% would obviously will be between 0.45 lot and 0.46 lot. Then we're going to take the 0.45 lots, and here's the exact risk percent and risk money. And once again, this is related to stop loss. So all of these will be changing if stop loss is changing. But if stop loss is like, if my last change for stop loss is doing the pips, then you will notice here it do not change anymore because stop loss is not changing, this is not changing, all of these will become static. But if I last move stop loss by moving the lines, these will be changing because the pips, stop loss pips is changing. And this is one because I'm using the link, the lot size calculation to real stop loss. If I do not link my lot size calculation to real stop loss, say something like this. If I make this to be false, and this is 100 pips, and now if you look at the stop loss, it doesn't matter how much I move or where I move my stop loss. You notice here it never changed because now my calculation is based on a fixed stop loss 100 pips. It's not related to the real order stop loss. So when I switch to fixed lot size, same thing. This do not change because this has nothing to do with real stop loss. When you actually using link to real stop loss and stop loss is set to no stop loss, EA will automatically switch to the 100 pips of your setting. Now when it comes to move the lines, let me just use this stop loss line as example. Now I'm opening market order with no TP but with a stop loss of 50 pips. If I don't move the lines, it will always maintain to be 50 pips from the market. But once I move the line, this is where my stop loss is, and this number will be updating. So when it comes to move the line, there are a lot of programs allow you to move the lines, but the problem is when we move the line, it is I can freely move my line to anywhere, but the problem is it is really hard if I actually want this to be a specific place. This is a problem with moving the lines. So here we have given you two different functions to allow you to move the lines with precision. So first of all, if you select this is two functions that will mutually exclusive. You cannot choose both at the same time. You will know why once I explain this. So if you choose snap here to be on means snap to candle price. What does that mean? Is that whenever you move the line and you drop the line, so when you drop the line, if it's located to any candle, should not drop the lines to anywhere that without the candle, okay? Then move the line to a candle, but it doesn't have to be exactly at the bottom or top. Wait, you just need to drop the line to a candle. It will automatically snap to candle low or candle high. See, once again, here, snap to candle low, snap to candle high. How does the EA know that? This is a function, this is the logic we do. If you drop a line that above the halfway of the candle, then it will snap to the top. If you drop the line below the halfway of the candle, it will snap to the bottom. So this way, it's very good if you want to trade support and resistance and for your order. For example, right now I wanted to open the buy, but I want the stop loss to be at the recent low. Then I just drop this and then it snap right here. So now we have one more thing you want to set because frequently trader wants to not only just snap to the high and low, they wanted to add a few pips. And this one is defined by this. See here, pip above or below the candle high and low when snapping. The reason just now it snapped exactly on the candle is because I set this to be 0. Then now let's set this again. Pips above, let's say I set this to be 5 pips. And now let's start again. For example, now I'm going to move the stop loss here. I choose this, then I drop it underneath or anywhere. It will automatically do this again. As long as along this candle, along this candle will automatically snap to 5 pips below. Same thing. See 5 pips above, then 5 pips above. And this is a function that's really useful when you trade support and resistance. Another function, see once I click this will be deselected and this will be snapping to grid. This is the one function that the free version do not have, so you won't see this here. So snapping to grid is this. Once again, if I deselect both, I could choose this to anywhere I want, but frequently we wanted those lines to locate at the round figure. For example, 1.12900, something like that. And how do we do that? You select this and then you move the line. So the EA will lay out those imaginary grid on chart, which is not shown here, and you drop your price. Whichever grid is closer is going to put your line there. You see here, all of these I'm dropping on the grid here. Then how does the EA know which is a grid? And here you have set it up here. Grid interval when grid is used. 10 means 10 pips. So EA has laid out an imaginary grid on the entire chart and with 10 pip interval. So to allow us to snap to the 10 pips. So this is extremely useful when these two things are all very useful when you wanted to drag the lines. Okay, now let me submit a market order with, here, not on grid then here. See, the market order price is not on grid. This is not on grid either. Then I'm going to use a fixed lot size, like no stop loss here. Only have TP, fix the lot size of 0.01. Here, before, see, this is invalid price, okay? Before you click this, EA is going to check all of these things. This could be invalid, this could be invalid, this could be invalid, this could be invalid. User could set anything. For example, I could set this. Then this is invalid lot size minus broker minimum. If I click this, EA will say invalid price or lot size setting, please adjust. Give you a time to adjust. See, now I adjust this correctly. I make this on top. Now everything is good. I open the order. Now EA will say, open the order at this price. Now I have an order open. Assuming I wanted to open another order with the grid, and this time I wanted to open the order precisely to be 20 pips above this order. With our traditional way of dragging the lines, it would be very hard to do so. So even if I use this, I can put it at a certain round figure number, but it's not really related to this order. It's not 20 pips above this order. So how could we do that? Now you can select this to be true. This is extremely useful if you wanted to trade grid trading and still manually open orders. Now let's do it this way. So here, you see here difference? Both when grid trading is selected, this is snap to normal grid. Now here, this is to snap to a certain order. When I say snap to a certain order, it means it can snap to order open price or order stop loss or order take profit. In this case, I'm going to snap to order open price. How do I do that? And here EA will immediately propose to you this marker here, and you need to move this marker to the price you want to snap. Of course, you can move this to anywhere. If it's not anywhere close to an order line, EA will think this is the price you want. Look at this setting here. How close mouse to an order when snapping? 5 means 5 pips. So I have set, if I move this anywhere within 5 pips to an order open price or stop loss or take profit, EA will snap to this order. But if I'm moving it 5 pips beyond those lines, it will stick here. So now once I set this, now when I move this line, you will see it's either here or 10 pip above or 20 pip above, see, or 30 pips above, then EA will lay out those imaginary grid based on this number here. Okay, there could be a variety of reasons you want to set this as a base of a grid. Now, for example, I'm going to set this as a base of the grid based on this order. I'm just going to move this somewhere within 5 pips to this order. It will immediately snap to this order. And this order is 1.12401. You see here, 1.12401. This is my order open price. Now, if I wanted to open an order that's 20 pips above this order, you just need to do this. Now it's 20 pips above. Precise control. Of course, you can take this off at any point and do this again. Now it's snapped to a normal grid. You can take this off and then snap nothing. Then you can switch to this snap to a candle high. So all of these control now, it's actually meaningful. We use the dragging the lines. Instead of you can drag the line anywhere, but I really cannot go anywhere I actually want. So these are two very important features of this EA again. And anything related to grid trading, including these two inputs, is not available for the free version. Let's do this one more time. For example, I wanted to snap to this order stop loss. I move it anywhere here is snap here. Now I can easily move my line. See, this is 10 pips above, 2.8. Oh no, this is 20 pips above this stop line. For whatever reason, I want this. And now I could just click this. Now, pen buy stop order opened at this price. So I hope you can see the value of this EA. And I think I have explained everything here. Just one last time, if you made some setting and you decided not to open the order, must click this one, okay? And this, only click this when you wanted to open order. Thank you very much.